So in this video we're going to talk about organic chemistry. So which part of organic chemistry? We're going to talk about the hydrocarbons, which is the alkanes. Alkanes, we're going to use the nomenclature of alkanes, how to name alkanes, what you're going to do in naming of alkanes, the procedure you're going to follow when naming alkanes. So let's start. First, what are alkanes? Let me start explaining something for you. The alkanes are subdivided into two classes known as stretching alkanes and branching alkanes. In the stretching alkanes, no carbon atom is bonded to more than two other carbon atoms, while in the branching alkanes, there is at least one carbon atom that is bonded to 3 or 4 others. Stretching alkanes are named by counting the number of carbon atom and adding the family suffix ana. So anywhere you hear or anywhere you see in organic chemistry a compound ending with ane, we definitely call that alkanes. So let's start naming alkane. So first, what is the general structural formula of alkanes? The general structural formula of alkanes, like the general molecular structure of alkanes, is CnH2n plus 2. So this is the general formula of alkanes. So wherever you see CnH2n plus 2, you're talking about the general formula of alkanes. So the first member of the alkane family is what we call the methane. So in this video, we're going to talk about the first 10 members of alkanes in the functional group, which is the methane, the ethane, the propane, the butane, the pentane, the hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, and decane. So let's start. So our first member here is methane, and methane has general formula of CnH2n plus 2. Like this is the general structural formula of alkanes, but if you're talking about methane, you're not saying CH4. So in methane, the carbon atom is equivalent to 1. So since the carbon atom is equivalent to 1, what next? Now let's calculate. Since carbon atom is equivalent to 1, so in methane, n is equals to 1. So since n is equals to 1, we now say Cn H2n plus 2. So n there is 1. So carbon will definitely become 1. So H there is 2. So this is 2 multiplied by 1 plus 2. So 2 multiplied by 1 plus 2 equals to CH. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 2. So now we now have CH. 2 plus 2 is what? 4. So the general formula of methane is CH4, while the structural formula is CH4. So let's talk about the next. So our next is ethane. So what of ethane? Ethane has n equals to 2. So since n is equals to 2, from our formula CnH2n plus 2, so we now have C, carbon becomes 2, H, 2 times 2 plus 2. So therefore we now have C2H. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2. So therefore we now have C2H6. So when you're talking about the structural formula of ethane, so structural formula of ethane is C2H6. So if you want to like draw the staggered formula, so you can just do something like this: CH3. So anyway, just see something like this or this, we definitely call it ethane. So I'm going to talk about the first 10. So the first 10 is methane, ethane. So next is propane. So next is butane. So another one is hexane. Another one is heptane. Another one is octane. Another one is nonane. Another one is decane. So first, for this introduction, I will first and for this introduction of alkane, nomenclature of alkane, I'll first tell you we're going to practice on how to name the first 10 carbon atoms of alkanes. So when you talk about methane, from our formula, our general formula, which is CnH2n plus 2. So in this formula, I just wrote now CnH2n plus 2. In this formula, methane N is equals to 1. So in ethane, N is equals to 2. In propane, N is equals to 3. In butane, N is equals to 4. Pentane before hexane. So pentane usually comes first before this hexane. So note that first is methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, and decane. So in butane we have N equals to 4. In pentane we have N equals to 5. Pentane N is equals to 5. In hexane we have N equals to 6. In heptane we have N equals to 7. In octane we have N equals to 8. In nonane we have N equals to 9. And in decane we have N equals to 10. So anywhere you see all these formulas, anywhere you just see all this formula, N equals to 1, N equals to 2, N equals to 3. So whenever our carbon atom here is 3, 4, 5, or any number ranging from 1 to 10, so just know it lies between methane and decane. So in methane, N is equals to 1. So if N is equals to 1, so we have our structural formula to be CH4. I've showed you how to calculate this. So out of if N is equals to 4, so when N is equals to 4, we have butane. So when N is equals to 4, so we have N, which is 4. So when N is equals to 4, carbon automatically becomes 4. So H2 times 4 will now become plus 2. So whenever we see this, definitely we are talking about butane. So what about pentane? How are we going to draw the structural formula of pentane? So in pentane we have CnH H2n plus 2. So N is equals to 5 in pentane. Since N is equals to 5 in pentane, so what we have now is C5H2 times 5 plus 2. So C5H2 times 5 is 10 plus 2. So we have 10 plus 2. So C5H12. So whenever we see this, we are talking about pentane. So what about hexane? So hexane, whenever we see N equals to 6, so you know how to do the rest. So now I've teach you how to do it, so I'll just go straight to the point and start writing it. So in hexane we now have 6H14. So what about heptane? So we are going to do heptane. So if you end up doing a heptane, N will be equals to 7. So N will now become C7H16. So if you go for octane, N is equals to 8 in octane. So you end up getting H818. So if you for decane, for nonane, you have N equals to 9. So you end up getting H9H20. So if you now do for decane, which I'm going to do, N is equals to 10. So N being equals to 10, we now have 2N plus 2. So N equals to 10, we now have carbon will become 10 since N is 10. H 2 times 10, we now have 20 plus 2. So therefore this will become C10H22. So this is what we call decane.